This is a continuation video of the previous one, where in the previous one we set up a simple UI so that when you hit play, we see a text in the corner of the screen. Um, if you don't know how to set that up correctly, you might want to go back and rewatch that video. In this video, we're going to have that text talk to the first person player to display the score on our screen. I will have a third video where we go over how to make a coin and how to make the coin add score to the player so that then the score will update on the screen. So kind of as a reminder, we did go ahead and in our first person character blueprint, we added in a variable to that called score and set up as an integer. One thing I did forget to do was I did forget to make sure that the default value was set to 0. It probably is by default, but we want to make sure that that is set correctly so that when we do hit play, we will be able to see our score set to 0. So we're going to do this setup over in our UI widget that we made previously, this WHUD. Pull it back over here. And we are going to do this by going over to the graph. And we are going to do this in our event construct. This is what gets called when the widget gets created. So we can use this to change the score because we need to be able to look at that first person player, look at that score, and make sure that that gets set. So we are going to first pull off of here, and we want to cast to, and for this one, like I said, I'm using that first person character that Unreal created. If you were using something else, this is going to be called something a little bit different. But for me, it's called BP underscore first person character. And it's important that you do the first person character, not the first person controller. Sometimes it's very easy to confuse those, but we are doing this to this one. We do want to make sure that we are getting the correct one. We want to get the one that is associated with the player that's actually playing and not any other first person character possibly in your game. So we're going to get player character so that we know that this is who the player is actually playing, not any other first person. After that, we do want to make sure that we are, having access to this. So we are going to right click and we're going to promote this to a variable so that we can go in and actually look into that. So now that we have access to that first person player character, we can go ahead and compile, and we can actually set up the text to change based on this. So I'm going to go back to the designer section, and I'm going to select my score text. And what we want to come down to is right here, the content of the text, because we want to bind the text, what's displayed, to that score variable in our first person player. So I'm going to click the bind, and we're going to create a binding. We could go ahead, and now that we have access to this because we promoted it as a variable, we could just hook it up to the score and it will just display a number, but that's not super exciting. It would be nice to have a little bit of elegance with the text and have it say like score colon and then the actual score rather than just a number on the screen. That's what that would do. Instead, we're going to create our own binding. So I'm going to click create binding, and it's going to have this very basic one. So we're going to access our first person character, and we're going to do that by coming over here under our variables. And we're going to drag and drop that because we do have that. So we're going to get that because we need to access it. What we're going to do next is we do want to set up how it's going to look. So we are going to use an append node for this. So I'm going to right click and search for append. We do specifically want the string append. We don't want to accidentally do the list append. The string append works like a concatenation. If you're familiar with like C# or other programming terms where we can concatenate together strings. So the way that it works is based on, we can add pens, but we only need 2. So A, B, and et cetera, et cetera. What do we want our string to say? For A, we're going to just say score, colon, and a space. So that's how our string will start. And then we are going to append the score onto the end of that. But let's make sure that we do get this hooked up, the return value into return value. It should automatically turn this into a string for us. And then we do need to grab this. We're going to, hold on a second. We're going to pull off of this and type get score, because this is that, remember we made that score variable over in that first person? It's referring to this. So it says, hey, what are you currently holding in there? What does that score say? We want to put that onto the end of the string. This is just a convert. Since it is an integer, it does convert it to a string for you, so that ultimately it will say score. Then whatever is currently being held in that first person for the score will be appended onto the end of that and returned back. I'm going to compile this and save it back into this display. So as of right now, it should just say 0 because that's what we set it to. If we hit play, we can see it does change my little gibberish to score is 0. So now we have the score talking from that variable in the first person player to our UI widget so that it does update for us. That's it. This is a very short one. I just wanted to show you how to hook those two together. And then the next one, we will set up a coin so that it will be collected and update into a score change.